I want to know because every person has a story as to why they came to Spain or why they came to Europe.
The main reason why I wanted to leave was because you wouldn't believe me, man, but I've had like a hit out on me by the Crips.
What? What? No, tell us about that. No,
So you're a wanted man.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
So now, what color are you wearing?
Yardman Podcast are the one.
Yeah, man.
Yardman Podcast are the one.
Yeah.
Yardman Podcast are the one. Yardman Podcast are the one. The Yardman Podcast.
Tell him.
Tell about the Yardman Podcast. The Yardman Podcast. Tell about the Yardman Podcast.
Boom. Davin and Donil with a special guest here on the couch. 3 mics in. We got Jason from America living in Spain joining us on the couch. A Moosian by now. And I would say you're an Amusian, American Moosian.
Yeah, I pretty much made that transition on over, man. I've been here for so long. I feel, I don't know how I feel anymore, but a little bit of both.
Yeah. So today, as you see, we have a guest, and you probably clicked on this video because you saw
The title.
The title. So you're like, get to it, guys, get to it. This is what I came here for. But this is Jason's first time. He's a supporter of the podcast. He's a clip supporter.
Yeah, well, definitely.
He always likes, you know what? You're one of the people that actually use Facebook.
Oh, yeah, it's a dying group.
Yeah.
But I'm still hanging on in there.
You're keeping the flame alive. And today we're going to start out with a little game, So like, share, subscribe, a little bit of categories, in the categories, and see how Jason will hold up. So, yeah.
Can I make it clear that I've never played this game before?
Okay, so let me explain how the game works. Do we have the boards ready? We needed the boards.
Bombo clat. Pause.
All right, so basically, I'm going to have a set of categories in front of me. For example, they could range from fruits that are yellow, drinks that are green, famous holidays, famous presidents, and you have to try to give me words based on the letter that comes up. It's a random letter. Right?
All right.
And that's the game, basically.
Give me an example, like as if we were playing.
So, for example, things that you can kill that start with S.
All right.
College majors that start
So
with
I could
S.
say like snakes, college majors, sociology.
For example, car parts, stones, gems, all of these things. This is the game, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a fun game that you can play with your kids too.
Okay.
I always play this game with my kids and they love it.
I gotta write these out.
Yeah, you got to write them down.
Okay.
Last time I used a permy marker.
I'm sure I brought my glasses.
Write a big.
All right.
And I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds to write these words. I'm going to give you 3 categories and you have 30 seconds to write these words.
All right. Ignore my spelling.
Don't worry about that. That's the least of your worries.
All right, Jason, you ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I think I've got the rules more or less down.
Yeah.
All right. So, categories, guys.
Categories.
We have the boards.
Let me explain how this game works. So this is a word game, a vocabulary game. How it works is that I will give you guys 3 categories and with a letter. And from this category, you'll have to write a word using the letter that I give to you. For example, the categories can range from 3 famous holidays that start with the letter F. The name of US presidents that start with the letter S. For example, car parts, things that you can kill with the letter I, for example.
But I put one word for each.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you put one word for each category.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Time limit as well.
And you have 30 seconds to write these words.
So 3 rounds and then
3 rounds.
and winner gets bragging rights.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
So, first category, things you're allergic to with the letter N. Sports that start with the letter N. And household chores that start with the letter N. So remember, things that you're allergic to, sports, and household chores that start with the letter N.
All right, timer. Also, chores that
10 seconds. Time.
dive.
I'm embarrassed.
Oh yeah.
I got one.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, you
All right,
got the
so
same one as me.
what
Nuts.
Nuts as well.
So what? So things that you're allergic to, nuts,
yeah.
and nuts. So 10
Everyone
points
probably.
each.
Alright.
Sports.
Netball.
Is that a sport?
Yes,
Yeah,
netball
it's
is a
a
sport.
Yes.
I mean, it seems to me every game that has a net has a ball.
Yeah, but it's a netball is a sport.
I think he's made that up.
I
No,
swear to God, it
no,
is a
no,
sport.
no, whatever.
Jamaica is quite good at it.
And Australia, New Zealand, England,
England.
we always compete with them.
Yeah, they're
okay.
the top 4 countries.
Oh wow. Well, congratulations. You
Yeah, I think because and also mostly women play netball. It's like
yeah.
dominated.
It's a woman dominated
Alright.
sport.
Yeah, one
And
of
the
the
last one was household chores.
nursing.
Ah.
What's wrong with that?
Because first of all,
Nursing.
nursing is what you do in a hospital.
No. You nurse your baby. You nurse the baby.
No, but that's not a household
You do
responsibility.
it. It is if the wife doesn't nurse.
I mean, do you do housework outside? Whenever your kid's hungry, and you got a
Would
nurse
you,
outside.
wait.
I'm doing the house.
Would you say gardening is housework?
Well, hey, but
That's outside.
no, but you don't say, "Hey, I'm doing the housework." What are you doing? Take out the trash.
I'm nursing the baby.
Yeah, well, you guys can decide that. I think that's horseshit.
Well, what would you say for N? What's one for N?
Household chore.
Because I was gonna put neatly organizing.
Yeah, well, that would I would give you points for that.
Okay.
All right, another round.
All right, so far I'm not doing. Did you count that?
Yeah. Okay, I'll take 20 on this one. All
All right, so let's not count that last one then.
what? Okay, I'll get 20
So
points.
you have 20 points so far. Put your 10 points.
All right, I got my 10. All right.
All right.
All right, ready again?
I can already tell how this is going to turn out. All right, let's go.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Go. Okay. The names of, so letter is S. The names of fruits that start with S. The names of beers that start with S. And the names of countries that start with S.
Fucking, what's the beer?
I should know this because I drink so much.
Tell us when 10 seconds, please. What's the freaking one of that one in the Indian one?
10 seconds.
Mm,
All right, got it.
2 seconds. Stop.
What is that?
Severe beer.
No. All right, so first of all, I spelled it wrong.
So the names of fruits.
That's what I did. All right,
Star apple.
Strawberry.
Okay, good.
What's a
10
star
points
apple?
each.
You star apple.
Star
Star apple, yeah. We have an apple in Jamaica called star apple.
Well, we got
In the
apples
Caribbean,
in the
actually.
States. They're just like red, green, yellow.
But that's not their name. You have Fiji
It's
apples.
actually
You
a
have
different
Golden
type of
Royal.
apple, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I assume it's star shaped.
Yes.
Yeah, it
I
is.
know. Okay.
Yeah.
I call that star. Well, it still starts with
Or
an
star
R.
fruit.
All right, I've heard that. Okay.
And what do you guys have for beers?
Schlitz.
Schlitz.
I
That
don't
sounds
know that. I don't know that.
Belgian, German.
No, it's American, bro. That's Schlitz is. They make their own beer. They also got malt liquor as well.
Ah. Well, here's the beer connoisseur, guys.
I'll give it to you. I had.
You gotta give it to me. I heard that.
It doesn't. It sounds a bit shaky, but we can't do it.
All right.
All right.
And countries that start with the letter S.
Sweden.
South Africa.
All right,
All
good.
right.
You guys
So-
get 30 points.
No, I get 20.
20 for Davi and 30
So
for
we're tied now,
you guys are
right?
tied right now. All right, so
Tiebreak.
this round will have a small twist. If you guys happen to have the same word, you will not get the points for the word.
All right.
All right.
Okay? All right. So let's go again. Ready?
I don't like losing.
I'm pretty much used to it.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. All right. So the names of fish that start with the letter B. The names of honeymoon spots that start with the letter B. and people in uniform that start with the letter B. So the names of fish, honeymoon spots, and people in uniform that start with the letter B.
English. That's me in English.
Está bien. 15 seconds.
All right.
You got 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
You've already won.
Come on, Jason. Time up.
All right.
Okay. What do you guys have for B?
For the fish, bass.
I should have got
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Bass,
My
yeah.
kid is absolutely just obsessed with sea animals. So
Yeah.
I thought this
Nico,
would be easy.
he's disappointed with you.
Yeah.
Very disappointed
Yeah.
with you right now.
So very good one, Bass. All right. What about honeymoon spots?
I've got Bahamas.
Good.
Barbados.
Good. Both places in the Caribbean. What about people in uniform?
Bellboy.
Bellboy.
Now, hang
Yes.
on. Now, before I tell you
Yes.
mine, I've been pretty generous with some of your answers. All right, I put bouncer.
True.
Either way, you lost. So,
Wait a second, so I got 60 points.
yeah, and I got my full here.
But
30.
David,
So
wait,
that's-
wait. What is a bellboy, David? I've never heard of a bellboy.
What?
What's a bellboy?
You go to
Yeah,
a
let's
hotel.
put this into let's ask, because I'm not really sure if this is a profession either.
A bellboy is the person that is there at the hotel that helps you in with your luggage, and
That's
they always wear their uniform.
No, that's called a bellhop.
Hold on. Let's see. You know what?
Bellboy.
Google is a very beautiful thing.
Yeah, because you can
Yes,
find
we have the
exactly
whole
what
world
would
in front
suit
of
your
us.
purposes.
No.
It's called a bellhop.
I'm gonna type in bellboy, and we're gonna see the picture that
It's going to
comes
be a
up.
guy with a bell.
I thought that was a.
And we're gonna
I
see
thought that
the
was a
picture that comes up.
stewardess. A stewardess.
We're gonna see the picture that comes up. See the guy right there.
Yeah.
What is that? What is he wearing? He's outside the hotel. He's the one that pushes your suitcases in the
I
hotel.
thought that was a stewardess.
No, stewardess works on a flight, bro. Sorry,
No.
man.
Yeah.
I think they're called flight attendants.
Yeah. I don't think stewardess is a politically correct one. See?
Mm.
The bell. There's even a movie called The
I
Bellboy.
bet that is great.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
All right, man.
Yeah, accept your losses, you know.
Oh, no, I do, man.
Yeah, good game.
Fair and square.
Good
All right.
game.
Fair enough, buddy.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
All
man.
right.
Nice one, guys. Nice one.
All right. So
Yes. So now is the time when we get into the nitty gritty. You guys have been here a while waiting. I hope you guys enjoy this game also, you know.
yeah.
And now is the time where we get into the nitty gritty. We start to get to know a bit about Jason when it comes on to some of his let's say choices
In life.
in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But before that, you know, Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself, your upbringing.
Yeah, we always want to know, you know.
How you get to Spain.
Well, I mean, I'll just tell you, I'll
Mhm.
try to give you the short version if I possibly can.
Yeah.
I grew up in Kentucky.
Kentucky. Wow.
Right. And this place where I grew up is called Guthrie. It has a population of about 1,500. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Now, what's interesting about Guthrie is a lot of things. It's not really known for a lot of things. But if you were to, one thing that would be strange to like an outsider about Guthrie is there is a train track that divides Guthrie,
Mhm.
and the majority of white people live on one side, and the majority of black people live on the other, which is kind of a strange thing. It's kind of it's
Is it?
So it's
That's like a apartheid kind of vibe.
I mean, I didn't make it that way, but I mean, but it's just what it's always been.
Yeah.
And you know, growing up, you don't really see things that, as being strange or anything if it's something you've always kind of had. And I'm saying,
No, true. Yeah.
not saying I agree with it, but I mean, the other that side has a the black side has like a different name. I'm sure they got a name for us. I don't know what it is. Probably,
What do you call the other side?
it's not just me. It's what it's known by everybody. It's called squig.
Squig.
Yes, and for a long time, people used to say. I used to ask my mom, like, what does squig mean?
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, well, that's just the hair on a black man's chest." And I said, "I never heard that."
I never heard that as well.
Uh,
Have you heard that?
No, I've never heard this word
No,
before.
but
Are
it's,
you even sure you can say that word?
can I?
I don't know the word. I don't know
Can I
you
not?
know the word, bro.
All right. Well, but anyway,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
turns out, with doing a little bit of research, I found out what it really meant.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
On the other side of town is this, because my county where I live is a dry county. You can't buy alcohol, but over there you have bootleggers, and you have, I mean, more things went. it was more like international waters over there. So if
Yeah.
because everybody likes to have a drink, and white or black or whatever. So if you were white in that area, you would go across the tracks to get a swig.
I get you. Okay.
So that's where that came from, and I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where it all got muddled up about a black man's chest hair, because I don't even think white people got names for their chest hair
No,
either.
because the alcohol, you
Yeah,
don't drink until you have some chest hair.
Or
Oh,
they
is that
say,
right?
or some people said alcohol puts hair on your chest.
Maybe some of that stuff that you Jamaican guys drink, but I don't know.
Really?
I mean, I'm pretty bare, but
TMI.
anyway, that's where I'm from,
Mhm.
and I lived in Memphis, Tennessee for a while.
Mm.
I went to school, and I went to work for my uncle. What I did was I basically managed distressed properties in Memphis for about 5 years, and I met my wife, and she was teaching English, Spanish there, and we both decided, man, fuck this place, we gotta get out of here.
Mm.
So that's what we did. We came to Spain. It was only supposed to be for a couple of years, but I've been here for like 15 years now. So I really don't see that I'll ever go back to the United
Just
States.
a couple more, right? Why not?
Yeah, why not? It's like
Hold on.
my roots are planted too
Do
deep.
you want to go back to America though? U.S. Keep saying America. It's US.
yeah. I mean, sometimes I think about it, but
Mhm.
the longer I've been here, the longer I've got my roots are planted deep. Man, I've got friends here. All my friends are gone where I'm from, and
Mhm.
they've all dispersed. And what would I go back to? I mean, I've got a job here. It's like, do I really want to go back to school? Do I want to, and study something different? Do I want to work in a factory, or do I want to work, basically just kind of doing the minimum here,
Mhm.
and teaching English, teaching my own language? So,
Yeah, sure.
So you see yourself just teaching for the rest of your life? Like,
well, I mean, I can't see myself really moving for a while. So that pretty much says I'll be here for some time, unless.
Wait, no.
And like maybe if something brings me that way, like if my family needs help or something like that,
Sure.
maybe I'd make an exception. But as of right now, my family's here. My kids got special needs. My wife has got a lifelong illness, and I don't want to take either one of them away from the help that they need. So
the stability
Well,
that
it's
they
true.
have.
Yeah, the healthcare system here is very good,
yes.
and I think that would cost you a lot if you were to be back home and have to deal with these issues that your family face.
yeah.
You know.
So
But before we go further, I want to know, because every person has a story as to why they came to Spain or why they came to Europe or why they leave home in general.
Mhm.
My story was that from ever since I wanted to like go to a country where I have to learn the language, get to see the world, meet some new people, all of these kind of things. So basically, you can say I came here for adventure,
Mhm.
and then eventually the same thing that happened to you back home. All your friends been dispersing, they're there. So it's like it's almost like I have my family there,
Sure.
but sometimes you wonder like, what are you going back home to? Are you actually willing to go back home to study, fit back into society? Because I haven't, if I were to go back there, the last time I was living there was 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Things have changed, people have changed, the society has changed on a whole.
And that's just 5 years.
And that's just 5 years.
Yeah.
So imagine
You-
you that has been here for 15 years.
Right.
So could you tell me what was one of your main reasons as to why you wanted to leave?
Well, I mean, when it came down to it, man, the main reason why I wanted to leave was because I just fallen in love with the Spanish girl who was working there, as I stated before. I absolutely hated my job. I had a very, very difficult job in the sense where I was a property manager in really, really rough neighborhoods. I mean, I carried a pistol with me every single day. I've had my you wouldn't believe me, man, but I've had like a hit out on me by the Crips.
What? What? No, tell us about that, though.
So you're a
tell, us,
wanted man.
tell us about that.
Yeah.
So now, what color are you wearing?
Well, I mean,
So hold on. So,
I prefer blues. And well, no, actually, I should be wearing red because the blue ones wants to kill me.
yeah, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I could go into it if you want.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
definitely, man. I've never met anyone that has.
has gotten a hit out on them.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's not a fun feeling.
No, definitely
it's,
not.
It's not fun at
It
all.
can't be.
Well, I'll give you the short version of it. I was managing a property that was in a really, really rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
Lots of crime, lots of drugs, lots of dope boys, junkies, you name it.
The whole works.
Yeah, all together. And across the street from the place that we had was it was all 1-bedroom units, and they were all. I wouldn't swear to it, but I think they were all kind of Section 8, like they were single women, and they were being paid by the government to for their rent and everything. So what happens when you have a bunch of baby mamas out living in a place? Well, you start getting all the baby daddies and the potential guys who want step in that neighborhood. So you get a bunch of guys selling drugs, being outside, hanging out, and their refuge is, well, if I need to run away, I can run away. I can go in my baby mama's house or whatever. So anyway, a lot of gunshots going on, a lot of guys being together, doing, illegal things. And I had a maintenance man, and my maintenance man, he was a crackhead. And I wasn't really aware of it at the time. I should have known.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I had a guy come up to me from the place is called the Coco Cabana. And I was managing the Victorian. Yeah. So I had the guy come over and say, hey, I'm looking for an apartment. And I'm like, man, I don't really have anything, even though I did have vacancies. I didn't want to rent to him. Mm-hmm. And my maintenance man looked over me and said, hey, what's the deal, man? Why don't you want to rent to this guy? And I was like, dude, don't you understand? I won't want to keep the problems on that side of the street outside of these gates. Okay. I want to keep this out. And he said, okay, I get it. So what do you do? Next time he bought crack, he told the guy. He said, hey, do you know that white guy? He said he didn't have any apartments. He has apartments. And he says he wants to clean up the neighborhood. Ooh. He's going to clean up the neighborhood. So the next thing you know, I'm getting phone calls from all kinds of people I haven't heard from in a long time saying, tenants, former tenants, people in different buildings that I manage on the other side of town say, hey, man, you better stay away from the Victorian. Don't be showing yourself around the Coco Cabana for a while. I mean, so that took a long time to kind of putter out. But, I mean, you get a lot of, young guys armed, selling drugs, thinking that there's some white guy wanting to step in on their turf and say, I want to clean up the neighborhood, like there's a new sheriff in town,
and you with your boots and your fucking Rolex on and your pistol at your side.
They must be saying this guy came here to gentrify.
Yeah. So it was a weird situation too, because my uncle owned the property, and he was like, I got an idea. Why don't you just drive my car over there? And I was like, dude, these guys don't care what kind of car I drive. They don't want to shoot the car up. They want to finish me.
But it wasn't a bad idea because they probably marked your car.
Maybe
they probably be like, this is the F-150 that's coming now. It's Jason.
But Davian, it takes only one person to see that you stepped out of that car and
you're
back to square one, basically.
Yeah. So how did you? So it just petered out, or is the hit still out on you?
Well, as far as I know. I had another maintenance guy in a different building, and what he did was, he said, "Hey, you better stay away from that guy because I'm gonna fuck him up." And apparently, he was an ex-Crip. I don't know.
Can you be that?
I don't know.
He got jumped out. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, and he's like, "Man, that guy's he's my bread and butter. I'm gonna give you, I don't know, whatever it is. I think he said he gave him $40. He says, I want to squash this right now
for $40.
$40. That's how much my life is worth."
Yeah, no, that's rough. That's wow.
$40. So that's like probably some crack.
I mean, I don't know necessarily if I believe the story, but but things did calm down after that. So,
were they like? Did you get attacked at all? Was there any incidents? Can you recall any incidents where you had to pull your weapon?
I never had to pull my weapon on them, and it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, I carried a small .32 pistol with 5 rounds in it. I mean. That would
just to protect yourself, just to warn them, or just for self-defense, basically, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, that was basically just to let other people know that I had something, I was carrying a weapon.
I mean, the element of fear.
I mean, for a while,
don't touch me, I have this.
I mean, for a long time, I even carried the gun unloaded, just because I wanted people to know that I had a gun. I don't know how I couldn't live with myself if I killed somebody, if I hurt somebody.
Understandable.
But that's how it all kind of finished out. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm dealing with day in and day out in Memphis, living, managing these properties.
That can be nice.
And my wife is just like, I can't fucking teach Spanish over here anymore. And to get a little bit on a sad note, my wife, her niece was 2 years old got diagnosed with brain cancer,
Oh,
and that threw it
Oh,
all
no.
and all that together said, all right,
that's a sign.
let's get out
That
of
was
here.
a nail in the coffin. Yeah.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Wow.
Oh man.
That was insensitive, bro.
No, man,
That was I will say that was a poor choice of words.
That was the
I mean, that
worst
was-
choice
Yeah.
of words.
That
you
was the
could
last
ever-
straw. That was the last straw. Better
Jesus,
said.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Man. Well, yeah.
We're laughing about it now, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Did her niece
That was the
spoke
last straw.
No, she didn't.
Jesus. It's
No.
even worse now, Daniel.
Nah. I mean, that was the last straw. That's what I meant, guys.
You're getting canceled.
I'm not
so
being
now.
insensitive.
Yeah, so condolences for that.
Yeah,
true.
well, I mean, it happens. I mean, it's a sad time. But so anyway, that's what I came here, and I've just basically been teaching English ever since, and just kind of just grinding it out like everybody else. I mean,
fitting into society.
yeah, I mean, doing my best. I mean, people who speak English here, they pretty much teach English. I mean, I don't know if you guys have.
Yeah.
I think I'm one of the rare few.
I mean,
Yeah, he used to though.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you made it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you retired, man. It's like where you got out of like a combat situation or something
Yeah,
and
teaching.
moved on.
Teaching English. Shout out to all the English teachers and the auxiliaries, but getting sick 10 times in this winter, I'm not up for it and all those things. But I respect all of you. Teachers are cornerstone of society. So, what was your adjustment like when you got to Spain? You know, essentially, I would say a redneck coming into a part of Spain. I think you were in Albacete, in a part of Spain that's not really international.
Not at all. And just to check you here, buddy, I'm not sure how much of a redneck I am.
Kentucky, Memphis.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, all right.
Like that's a stereotype. That's a stereotype.
I can see
I'm not
you
gonna say.
know.
I would say some like kind of. I didn't say you were.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
no, you're right to draw those conclusions. All right. So, but no, I mean, yeah, but like this, man. When I was growing up, my father was in the military, so we moved around a lot.
Okay.
And I never really stuck to one accent. I never really had one place that I really kind of felt like was home. And I think that's the reason why maybe people. I'm sure that if someone's listening to this and you're from like New York or something, you're like, oh, that guy's a hillbilly. My accent is different. I mean, I do have a southern drawl from time to time, and it comes out in different times.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but coming here,
It's culture.
yeah, I mean, it's just different. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not good, it's not bad, it's just what it is. Well, speaking of rednecks, I went to like the most fucking redneck place there ever was, and that was Albacete, man. And and Albacete, to me, is like the Kentucky of Spain, because
Kinda.
I feel like it's like 20 years in the past as far as like the mentality of people. And I mean, I'd speak English to my wife on the street, and people would look at me like they'd stop and do a full turn and look at me up and down and wonder, what is this person?
No,
Who-
yeah, no.
what
I
is he doing
understand, I
there?
understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the place. It's not really a metropolitan place where they would maybe get a lot of tourists, or they would maybe get used to
No, I mean,
hearing people speak a different kind of Spanish or French even, or even
no,
English.
there's no reason for a tourist to go there. I mean, Albacete is known for their knives.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And
And their trains.
The trains.
Because like every time I've had to go on a train to go to the north or whatever, it goes to Albacete and then it goes to where it has to go. Or if I'm coming from the north, it comes to Albacete and then it comes where it has to go in the south. So it's like
I
a big
see.
terminal. They
Well-
have Albacete train station.
Well, so you stop in Albacete for a second. Because
Yeah,
Albacete has in Spanish kind of like a saying. It's Albacete caca y bete. So which means is Albacete.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Take a shit and leave.
Exactly, you stop for
It's a
5
pit
seconds
stop.
and then you
Yeah,
leave.
it's a pit stop. Exactly.
It's not
just like-
somewhere where you would look to want to stay.
No, not at all. I mean,
Albacete, caca y vete.
so you can believe that when my wife, she's a teacher, when she passed the Oposiciones and got a job in Murcia, I was ecstatic to get the hell out of there. I mean, that place nearly broke me.
How long did you live there?
I think about 2 years. And I was same thing, man. I was just when I first came here, I worked for an academy, and they beat me up in there, man, and they broke me. I mean, I'm carrying a pistol to work every single day. I'm getting threatened by the Crips, and and I go to work every single day, and here I am, nearly in tears on Thursday, knowing I got to go to work on Monday. In the academy, it was rough, man.
The kids, man. So listen. I understand you. Sometimes these kids, they will drive you crazy.
Yeah.
They will drive you crazy, man. When it comes out to things like not being quiet in class, not having respect, for example,
that's-
or not wanting to actually be there, so they don't put out the effort to let you actually give the class.
I wish that's what it was, man. I wish that was it.
That was not the case?
No, for me, it was total like disrespect.
Ooh.
Disrespect. I mean, I literally had a kid.
Mhm.
Not kidding at all here, man. I guess I couldn't make this up.
Yeah.
This kid looked at me because I didn't speak any Spanish when I came.
Mhm.
Okay, came straight from Tennessee to Albacete, and I had a kid look at me and said, "Profe, tu chupas polla?" And I said, "I don't understand what that means." And he said, "You chupas polla."
Oh yeah, these kids.
And I walked out. I walked out of the room, got the boss. I said, "Talk to this kid. Talk to him right now, because I'm about to throw this kid out the fucking window."
Mhm.
And she's just like, "Spanish kids are different from American children. You need to understand that."
No.
And and
Yeah, but come on.
yeah, I mean, I would never think of it saying anything like that to an adult.
Tony,
Exactly.
Tony, you have to admit, teaching kids here, the level of respect that they have for teacher is almost non-existent.
Oh, yeah.
Firstly,
They talk to them on a first name basis.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like they talk to you like you're a friend.
I don't
And
like
I
that.
always find that weird because in Jamaica, I don't know my teacher's first name.
Exactly.
I don't know their first name.
Well, you
Mr.
shouldn't.
Reed,
Yeah,
Mr.
you shouldn't.
Williams,
Yeah,
or
I mean,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, exactly. And and also one thing that kills me is like, well, you get a teacher walk up and he's wearing a Metallica T-shirt, and it's like, wait a second, you're not dressed for the role here. You're supposed to be like an authority figure, to be a role model. Get a collar shirt for God's sake.
Teachers here, they go in shorts in the summer with a t-shirt, shorts,
Yeah,
and
man.
you don't even know it's a teacher. You think it's a parent dropping off a kid and they're going back home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They get freedom in how they get to dress. I really don't have a problem with that, but coming from where I'm coming from, I would prefer to see somebody in a shirt, a nice pants, and you
Yeah.
know, whatever. Look the role of a teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, teachers is a job that a lot of people aspire to be.
Here,
And,
yeah.
and I think you should, if that's something that people aspire to be to, I think they should look the part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And with the competition to be a teacher here, it should be more stringent on them, I would say. Like, if I'm going to work, dress like a teacher.
Yeah.
At least because I've seen teachers here come into work in leggings.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
In
Yeah,
leggings.
man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, how you going to do? You're not working out. What you doing in leggings in a class filled with 13, 14-year-old boys?
If they're good looking, I don't mind it. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. So Albacete, then you moved to Murcia.
Yeah.
Apart from the teaching, did any cultural shock stand out to you? Like the governance of the country, the people, the food, the music.
All
Did
right.
anything else stand out to you?
Well, I mean, not because I'm sitting between a couple of black guys, but I will say one thing that really, especially, I thought about this earlier when we were talking about Three Kings rolling around.
Yeah.
It's like every year, we do plays and stuff at school, and of course you got the parades that go up and down the street, and you got a guy, Jose. You got his face all covered black, and he's
Yeah, man. The black face of Baltasar.
It's like, how does that work? I mean,
And you know, something funny about that, here in Spain, they say, hay muchos negros. A lot of black people, right?
yeah.
Until the day when they have to hire one to be a Baltasar. There is
Can't
they
find
don't
one.
say
They
where
can't
is he?
find
Where's
one.
Baltasar?
They can't
don't-
find
they
one.
don't.
I don't get it, but I mean, there's all kinds of culture shocks, man. I mean, I think I've been here so long that nothing shocks me anymore. I mean, what about you guys? I mean, you guys must have had some kind
Yeah,
of
man, of course, man. The first one for me, for example, I'll give you two. The first one for me is the lack of personal space when they're talking to you.
Oh man, even at the urinal.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what is this?
yeah. I've had a guy like had to be standing close. Or he's standing up closer than you guys. Just talking to me. Say, hey man, it's a pretty good party, isn't it?
I can never get used to
like,
it.
dude.
I can never get used to it.
If I go to the beach and I got another guy standing in speedos talking to me this close to me,
With his chest out as well.
yeah.
Fully comfortable.
I can never get used to that part.
I mean,
For me,
Yeah.
one most recent, I actually had to make a TikTok. Now that you mentioned, like, even at the urinals, they don't wash their hands here, bro.
I mean, do they piss on their hands though?
No, but
if you touch your tool,
you touch your tool, you need to. You're gonna make contact with another person at some point.
Well, you might want to think about whether or not you want to shake my hand from here on out, man. Because I mean,
Don't tell me. You.
I wash my hands like when I shit on them.
So hold on. So you don't wash your hands when you pee?
If I piss on them, I will.
No. So you touch your tool.
I don't touch my tool.
You pee.
What do you mean don't touch your tool?
Well, first of all, do you have to? I mean,
no, not necessarily, but
well, yes.
listen,
no,
I mean,
David.
Well,
I've
never.
It depends.
Are you sitting?
It depends. It
No,
depends
of
on the
course
pants
not.
you wear. It
Unless
depends
I'm
on the
drunk.
pants you wear. For example, what I'm wearing right now, I don't have to touch my tool.
right?
But,
So hold on.
but what you wearing?
So hold on. So what you do? You just pull down, rest under your balls, and then.
Yeah, I told you, man. That's what I do. Yeah, of course.
So hold on.
I mean, listen. I'm a white guy too, man. I don't have like 2 handfuls of dick like you have. So that's pretty much something you got to keep in mind too. Basically, what's the point?
What? No, like it's just.
You're gonna touch a filthy door handle when you walk out anyway.
It doesn't matter. It's just the thing. It's just
Urine is
hygiene.
pretty
It's just,
sanitary.
and I
It's
don't
pretty
really,
clean.
and I don't really touch the door handles as well. If I try, I use my foot, especially when I go to a club or
How
something.
does that work when it's a knob?
No, I'm saying if I can.
Oh,
Yeah, if you can.
If I can, I don't. But even so, maybe I use my left hand or something because it goes so bumpy. It's just a routine for me. It's a ritual.
Yeah, it's
you
something them
pee,
teach
soap, wash your hand, 20 seconds, out of there.
yeah. Well, here's a culture shock. In Spain, there's no hot water in the sinks to wash your hands. But that's probably the reason why I probably gave up on it.
You don't hot water. It's summer. You don't need hot water. You actually would probably relish the normal agua de tiempo.
And you know,
Well-
to be honest, Davian,
You don't wash your hands either.
no. I do.
At
I
home,
do.
every time.
I do.
No, be honest, bro.
I do.
Be honest.
At least with water. At least.
Yeah, even if
At
there's
least
no
if there's
soap.
no soap, at least with
Water.
I
water.
think I'd rather wash my hands with piss than wash my hands with Morphia water.
Because all the calcium and all these things.
No,
But
man.
wait, that's
No,
what I wanted
man.
to say that.
I feel uncomfortable. I can't believe the two of you. Like,
Come sit closer to
listen,
me.
you never let me finish that vein. So I wash my hands at least with water, at least. What was I about to say? When I just got here in Spain, and I used to go to the bars or clubs or whatever, there wouldn't be any soap in the bathrooms. But after COVID, when COVID was there, they would start to put the soaps.
and the sanitizer.
Can
I
you
love that.
do you now see sanitizing gel anywhere?
No, it's not anywhere.
Because
anymore.
there's no more COVID.
no.
So that is over for.
I miss
Back
those
to
days.
normal.
I miss those days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, COVID.
Not COVID. I miss the days of having sanitizer
Oh.
and soap.
This
Yeah.
guy is insane.
Yeah.
This guy is insane.
I'm with you on this one, man. But yeah, so
Yeah.
we got off topic here.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I don't know how we did that.
Yeah, culture shocks. We were
Culture
right.
shocks.
Yeah, culture shocks. I could probably think of a million different things, but I just kind of feel like I'm on the spot with the culture shocks. I mean, I've just gotten so used to them. It's just like now it's like whatever. I'm not even bothered.
Or let me ask you about this one.
Right.
This one I still haven't gotten used to. For example, if a teacher would, like for example, to coordinate with the teachers, you'd have to take their numbers and whatever. They'd say, "Hey, Jason, can you prepare this for class on Monday?" Da 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 da. And at the end of the message, they might send you a hug or a kiss or whatever.
Oh, okay.
That for me, the first time I saw it, I was bugged out. I was like, "What does this mean?"
The level up, the professional to the casual is there's no really any.
Not really.
Yeah.
Because they'll message you at 10 p.m. in the night too.
That too. Yeah. So for you, for example, who's a married man, like how do you face this?
Well,
Or-
I always like it when they're good looking. But
Yeah.
I hope your wife doesn't watch this. I really hope you know she doesn't
we'll
watch
just
this.
timestamp for her to go ahead. But I mean, it is true. I mean, there's a lot of handshaking, which is fine. A lot of kisses, and I don't quite understand it either. I mean,
it's just them.
yeah.
The kisses kind of trip me out as well.
The first time a teacher leaned in to kiss me, my face was like what's happening? And then they kiss on the cheek and the cheek. I
cheek,
said,
the
and then another person did, but I didn't get used to it until like the 5th time.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty clumsy. There's been a lot of times where I've had hit cheekbones, like,
Ow.
ow.
I usually just don't move.
No.
I usually just don't move.
You know, the kissing on the cheek, it tells a lot about the person, how much they like you as well.
It's true.
Yeah, there's levels to it.
If you get a little slight brush, a heavy contact. If you get the lips on the cheek,
Yeah, if you get the lips.
if you get the lips, that means she really likes you.
Yeah. There's levels to it.
There's levels to it. All right. So now you're here, and I'm pretty sure you've seen most recent elections and stuff, and the political agendas globally. You know what Europeans think about the United States? Like they just think it's. What do you? Yeah, you've lived here for 15 years, so you're.
Well, I'm quite used to it. I mean,
what do you think they think about Americans? You know, let you define it.
Well, I mean, a lot of times people come to me and ask me why things are the way they are. And I don't really have a good response for why, like, for example, like universal healthcare isn't a thing in the States. You know, I don't really have like the best explanation. You know, people, why is there always school shootings? Why are people getting shot up all the time? And I'm like, well, it's kind of, you know, it's part of our Constitution. It's a right. And, you know, and some people just aren't responsible. And it's, I mean, and I feel like a lot of times people can't really explain the dumb shit that their own countries do. And I have a hard time trying to explain what mine does as well. Yeah. So, but still, I mean, a lot of times people want to talk with me about politics and things. And, you know, that's not necessarily my strong suit, but I mean, I kind of know from what my upbringing is, like what I believe and, you know, what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not. Mm-hmm.
So in terms of politics, are you like for like the universal healthcare, like the way they do it here? How do you like the Spanish system of politics?
Well, before I came here, I was terrified of it because you get brainwashed to a certain extent. People say, "Oh, you want to be like Spain. You want to have universal healthcare where people are standing in line and dying to be helped, to be sick, who are sick and everything." You want to wait forever to have a transplant? You want to die if you don't have insurance? And I was just thinking, oh my God, I got to get good insurance when I get to Spain. And of course, when I get here, it's not like that at all. I mean, the difference I see between the Spanish system and which is, you know, the universal healthcare in the States is that the look of the hospitals. I mean, once again, if we talk about how teachers look, when I go into a hospital, I mean, like, you need to change your smock. Your robe looks a little old, you know, or I could be like, this medicine cabinet that's keeping stuff in here, it looks like it's from the 50s.
Yeah.
Or it's like somebody needs to remodel this hospital. I mean, these places look old, and that's really it. I mean, it's like the aesthetics of it. I mean, if you go to the States, of course, man, people are spending so much money on healthcare and insurance.
And the appearance is everything.
The appearance is everything.
Yeah, I mean, things look great. Things look fantastic. Things are all new. Everything's just amazing. As far as the look of it. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's Spanish doctors don't have any kind of secrets that, you know, Americans doctors don't have. Yeah. Or vice versa. And all around the world, I mean, we're all, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know? So it's like, well, if that medicine cabinet works, then why not keep it another 10 years?
True.
You know? But the States is like, throw that shit out. And, you know.
I've realized that's a big thing. Big cultural difference as well. And because I've lived in America as well. So in America, the aesthetics and the appearance matter more than here. Mm-hmm. For example, a person making 20 grand a year would still want to drive a BMW.
Yeah.
A person making 20 grand a year here on an average, they'll be comfortable driving a nice Seat or something. They won't be living outside of their means. Obviously, and this is not for everyone, but on a general basis, I would say people tend to stay within their means here and they're happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like me. It's like, I don't think I'm poor, but I live like I'm poor. And I've kind of got used to that kind of, that mindset, that kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm. I get you. Yeah, I understand.
Because if you were in America, what kind of car would you be driving?
Well, that's difficult to say, but I'd probably be driving something newer than what I have now. I mean, the thing is, I've changed too. I'm a little bit older too, man. I mean, I don't want to be flashy like I used to be, you know. Mm-hmm. But I'd probably be driving something nicer. I'd definitely have a bigger home than what I'm living in now. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'd probably dress nicer, and But
You see,
So
the appearance more
So
matters more.
so you
than-
live within your means here,
yeah, I mean, I think so. A lot of people don't even still, but
and it's easier to do it here because you basically fit in. You don't try to stand out because you see that Maria here or Juan here is good with their car, where they live in their small apartment. They're still good. They're healthy. They're eating food. They have their kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
Life is normal for them. So it's not saying why want more, but as you said, if it's not broken, why fix it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, so
All right, and so now to the big question.
all right, let's bring it on. Do you mind if I fill up a little bit?
Yeah, man.
Some of my dad water.
Yeah.
So the
You
big
said-
question.
The big question. You said, one of the main reasons where I even have it on this conversation. I'm letting everyone know Jason is a person that I respect. I've eaten from it at his table multiple times.
Thanks for saying that, buddy.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Okay.
Like, I respect you. You're a family man at heart. Even though at times you project like this somewhat of a like, oh, I don't give a damn. I know you care. I see how you treat your kid. I see how you interact with your wife. I've been there. I've been in your home. I see exactly the kind of person you are. Like, you care so much. And I can see that, especially with your son. As you said, he has special needs, but I can see that he's literally the world to you.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm lost without him. I really am.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying that, man. I really appreciate that.
No,
I mean,
it's for anyone that has gone to your home and they see how you interact with your family, they can tell like this man will do anything for his family.
thank you.
That's
I-
what
And,
it should be, yeah, that's what it should be,
and in this world where a lot of families are broken, a lot of dads leaving, like especially as you said, your wife has a medical challenge and your son has special needs. Not many men would stick around for that, especially in a foreign country as well, non-native. Like the odds are stacked against you.
Yeah, I see.
And you still stick there, you still have a life here. But then it brings me to the question when we were talking the other day when we were out having a drink. You said that, you know what? I'm a proud Trump supporter.
Yeah.
I want to know how you got to that. That's why we did all this preamble to learn a bit about you.
Yeah.
How did you come to this decision?
Well, I mean, it wasn't overnight, and that's a thing. I mean, for a lot of people, it is. I mean, Kentucky is a red state. It always has been. And
Yeah.
it always will be. I mean, there's, I mean, people have their, their upbringing, their roots and everything. It's like that's. I mean, it's very, very religious. It's very this and that. I mean, I wasn't always a Trump supporter, and when he first was running, when he first made his when he threw his hat in, I was really surprised because it seemed to me like I thought he basically disqualified himself from the very beginning by talking about Hispanics and Mexicans, coming over the border, and Mexico's bringing in their, they're not bringing their best people in, folks. And I was like, I hate Hillary Clinton, but this guy's not going to win, and he shocked the world.
Yeah. The element of surprise.
Yeah, and I mean, and really, I think who else could have lost to Trump but Hillary Clinton in that case?
Yeah.
I mean, she's so hated that who else? So you basically choosing the better of the two evils, I think.
Mhm.
And then obviously, Trump became president, and everybody just ducked down and said, "Well, when's it going to end? When's the world going to end?
They dug their hole and they were waiting there for it to be over, basically.
Yeah, and it didn't. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Instead, a lot of things happened that really improved the country more so. All right, let's get in there.
There, some people would disagree.
Asking
A lot
some
of his
questions.
policies
Yeah.
that he put into effect actually made things worse, and a lot of the credit that he's gotten was off the back of Obama, things that Obama had put in place. So he got the credit for stuff that Obama set in motion.
Yeah, set in motion, and then he came in, and then he basically
And he's the kind of
polished
guy
it off
that
and
takes
then,
the credit for work. He's the guy in the group that doesn't do any work, but when the presentation is up, he's like,
He'll take the trophy.
yeah, he takes the trophy and he takes most of the credit. So he did that as well with a lot of Obama agendas that he put forward. So people have this thing that, oh, he did a lot, even when he didn't. Military-wise, didn't really do much.
Well,
Some would say that he didn't handle COVID the best as well. So
Yeah,
many
I think
people
that-
died because of his mismanagement.
I
of
think
COVID,
that
which
was
is
his
a
biggest
big thing.
criticism
yeah.
about COVID. Yeah.
His the infrastructure bills that he didn't pass, the restructuring of the trade deals.
Let's hit one point at a time here.
Oh,
pal.
all
All right.
All right.
All right. So let's go back to military. All right. So we didn't fight any foreign wars, any new foreign wars, while he was in office.
That is true. That is true.
That's one
a
of the
fact.
things. Everybody kind of had their head down. It's like, well, if Clinton becomes president, we're going to fight a war within our country, and if Trump becomes president, we're going to fight a war outside of the country.
Mhm.
And obviously, that didn't happen. I mean, Trump's crazy. I mean, he says some wild things, and I don't know. I don't think he. Well, I said he's crazy, but I don't think he is. I think a lot of the things that he says is just to get people's attention. He's like the clickbait of
Politics.
of politics. I mean, it's like, I want to build a wall and get Mexico to pay for it. It's like, what? Why would you say that?
Yeah, he knows how to draw the attention.
And you get everybody talking about it, and and maybe a wall wouldn't be the best or the worst idea. He's not the first person to think of that either. That was proposed before Trump.
It's not original.
No.
Not a criticism.
Yeah. COVID's hard to really nail down.
Come on. There's a lot of things he could have done better.
What could he have done better?
Yeah, in your
Firstly,
opinion, Davin, what could he have
His
done
opinion on vaccinations, firing the foremost person in government that was dealing with the medical issues, thinking that, I should take this on himself.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he handled the economy, the stimulus check took time to get. The amount of fraud that happened with the stimulus check, he should have put in place better management of all that stuff. I'm not even American, and I know this.
I don't think he should have done the stimulus check at all. Full
No.
stop.
People needed, I would say
That
people
time was a
needed
tough
money.
time. It was a
People
tough time. People were basically, if you're on a path, when COVID came, you basically had to change your idea, revamp, come again, because of how it just happened so suddenly, so unplanned, and it did a lot of damage. And it's still doing damage, even,
Sure.
for example, in the US and outside of the US.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fizzled out by now, kind of. I mean, although people are still catching COVID, but I mean, it's not.
People
aren't-
still have COVID.
Yeah,
people just
people-
don't care anymore.
but people aren't dying by thousands per day like they were. But yeah,
Thankfully.
I honestly I don't know how he could have done a better job.
I think you could have done a better job as the leader of a country, keeping people calm instead of being so divisive in a moment of terror.
Maybe.
People were scared
Yeah.
for their lives, for their loved ones. And he didn't seem as someone there that could reassure them that everything will be
Well, I
okay.
mean, I think
If in your household,
Mhm.
let's say he's the father in your household, if your house is on fire, you're gonna try and get your wife and your
for
kids
sure.
at the same time, you are going to try your best to keep them as calm as possible while you get them out
Mhm.
so that the best thing happens, right?
Right. Okay.
That was his responsibility. Everyone's looking to you. You are the president. Keep me calm. Make me feel safe, even though the world is burning down outside.
Well, I mean, you also have to keep in mind too. I mean, the world has to keep moving on. I mean, if you give you an example of the meat packing plant Tyson, a lot of meat packers were getting COVID, and they were taking time off work. Some people were saying, "Well, I got long COVID. I don't want to get sick. I'm scared. I'm scared to go to work because I don't want to get COVID."
Mhm.
We have to eat. He kept meat packing businesses still running. I mean, that's one of the things. He wanted to keep economy going, and I mean, people lost their lives for that, I suppose. But you have to keep things going. I mean, it would go into chaos if we were to say, "Everybody, just stay at home. Just stay home." And let's.
No. I'm not saying that those aspects of it. Certain decisions, every decision you make in that regard, people are gonna die. But where can you minimize the losses so that you get the maximum benefit? If it's like you stay home, that means 3 families starve to death.
Mhm.
But you come in, you die, and those 3 families live. That's an easy decision.
Sure.
It's an easy decision in terms of numbers, but you're still losing a life.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So those decisions he was good at, but he didn't keep the country together. He had it split. There was still that divisive nature there, where as a country, in a moment of tragedy, that's when everyone should be coming together to do their best. Like the doctors and the nurses that were putting themselves on the line every day going in to treat people.
Mhm.
Those are the people that he should have been reassuring, championing as well.
I
So,
mean, I'm sure mistakes are made. I mean, we look at hindsight with that. I mean, that's
yeah, it's all hindsight.
But I mean, every country made mistakes. I don't think.
No, there was no perfect way to handle a global pandemic. There's no perfect way. I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying that the divisive
It was
nature.
caused by China.
Yeah. Allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to hit another hit out on you.
All right.
Allegedly.
Oh yeah.
Allegedly. But
China.
outside of that, now he's back in term and you're still a supporter of him. Why is
Well,
that?
I wasn't a supporter so much in the beginning.
Mhm.
As I said before, I just came off the cuffs of Barack Obama, and I really like Barack Obama, although I don't think he was a good president.
I'm not gonna debate
All
that.
right.
I'm not here to debate every point. I would say
I don't think he was. I don't think. He was,
in comparison to other presidents.
I don't think he was a strong president. I liked his ideas. I think like Obama. I got swept up in the Obama idea of change and things being of us working together to do a better job in everything. And I mean we all kind of got swept up in that. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, what can you get? What can you actually pass? And that's the problem.
People have to understand that aspect of politics as well. I can have this great idea as a president. Let's say, for example, just so the Americans, please don't. Universal healthcare. Everyone's gonna get great healthcare. I'm gonna put out universal healthcare. This is my mandate for being president, and you voted for me to do this, and you give me 4 years to accomplish this. Based on how the system is set up,
No,
the chances of that happening,
more
like a president is powerful,
There's a
but he's
fail.
not all powerful.
no. I mean, it was a failure from the get go. I mean, honestly, I think that I think if you want universal health care, I think it should be offered to you, and if you want to pay insurance premiums and you want the higher standard, I guess.
That was just an example, not something that I think will probably pass in America anytime soon.
No, I won't. But look at the comparison now between Kamala Harris. Somebody's going to say I'm not pronouncing it right. Kamala.
Whoever it is. I say Kamala.
I say Kamala.
You might come for me.
In Jamaica, we say Kamala. We pronounce that name
Yeah,
Kamala.
Kamala.
That's why I've always said it's Kamala, but I've heard people say, I don't say it like that. You say
Kamala.
Kamala.
No, Kamala.
Whatever. I mean, once again, it's like he got. First of all, the Democratic they fail from the get go.
Okay.
I mean, Biden. I mean, come on, guys, come on. I don't care what side you're on, but if you get a guy,
We're not on any side.
We're
We're
not
not
on any
American.
side.
no, but you get a.
But you know, we should be, Davin. We should be.
Why? I'm not on any side. My voice.
I won't stay long on this, but we should be, Davin. You know why we should be, Davin? Because anything that the US does, it affects us.
True.
So we should honestly choose a side that would be in our benefit, honestly.
And how are you going to impact it?
Hmm?
Do you have
No,
a
but we
vote?
can't.
Do you have a vote?
At this, no, we don't. But I'm saying we should
Yeah.
be on the table, because at the end of the day, these guys have their table, we're not there, and they decide for us.
Yeah,
So we
but
should be able to be at the table.
that means you're saying
When will we be at the table? That is another question.
No. You said be at the table. That is too much. I don't think any outside forces should be having any say in who governs
Then
the country.
why can they have a say?
No,
in how-
no, that's
how
what I'm saying. I'm
countries
saying
govern?
overall, I don't think any outside forces should have any input on how people manage their own countries.
Ah,
Don't
well,
you-
the
it's-
US, the
it's what's
US,
happening.
the
But
US
that's
and its
why-
people should determine that, not the US and
Mhm.
Europe and Jamaica should determine how America runs. I feel no, they should decide
Well-
their own governance.
Okay, I agree with you, but that's not the case.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is like you need to vote for people who you think has the morals and what you're looking for.
Basically,
Okay.
Basically,
And most likely, it's going to either go from the United States is going to be one side or the other as well.
True.
You decide who you want,
Mhm.
and that person will represent your country, and then maybe this person will be the same person who's in office, or they have the same political party ideas that you want. I don't know.
Especially when it comes down to foreign policies.
Yeah.
Because they decide a lot of things. They decide, for example, that if Jamaica were to side with Cuba tomorrow, they would cut the help that they give us tomorrow. If Jamaica were to side with South Africa tomorrow, they would cut the help just because of the partnership. So it's not a case where, for example, we can actually make these independent decisions and not face backlash from the USA. And just the mere fact that they have like US military bases in a lot of these countries should give them some
different bases.
They should have some type of right or some type of talk when it comes on to, these kind of decisions in the first place.
That's with foreign policy, bro. But to decide who governs their country.
But who governs their country governs the foreign policy also.
They can always negotiate that. That's a different thing.
But Davin, as I said, I agree with you. It should not be a case where, this is the US table, and then the US table will decide for this square table here, which is not a part.
Which is what has happened throughout history, where
it's not right.
Allegedly.
It's just not right.
Yeah.
It's just not right.
Because there's an instance where the US essentially intervene in the Jamaican political situation.
We know it happened, Davian.
Yeah.
You don't have to tiptoe around it. We know
I have to use my words. I don't want to be sued. I don't want to be sued.
Oh.
Don't worry.
I don't want to be sued. Yeah.
We're not big enough for them to look at us. We're a small
That's
speck.
That's
right
why
now.
I want to keep my little speck to myself.
All right. But anyway, going back to Harris and Trump. I mean, come on, man. You saw how Biden took a week to prepare for a debate, and then it's like, okay, this is going to be good. We're going to see some fireworks. This is going to be great. All right, and then of course they basically get this waddling corpse. And
this guy's a dead man.
Standing up next to the microphone, and it's like, and then you say, oh my God, you guys have been hiding this for a long time.
He's barely hanging on.
Grandpa ain't doing too well.
I told you this, Davian. I told you this a few months ago. I have a conspiracy theory. Let me share it with you, Jason.
All right.
Tell me if this makes sense or not. This is just my opinion. This doesn't have to be fact, even though sometimes fact is stranger than fiction, and we know this. I believe that there's not one Joe Biden. There's one that would make public appearances, and there's one that sits down that's not so healthy. The old grandpa Joe Biden that you say, and he say, all right, you go here. This is a speech that you have to do, for his own protection.
That's
and for his health.
I mean, I think
that's something Trump would say.
I mean, Saddam Hussein had body doubles. I wouldn't be surprised if Vladimir Putin did too.
I think most presidential securities probably have body doubles.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, all right, well, get out the old Grandpa Biden, dust him off. He needs to
take him out of the chamber.
Bring out Biden 3.0.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And let him. I don't know. That's possible, but but for me, it's like that's really well. I'm not going to say it's when I started liking Trump, because I liked Trump before that.
Okay,
but I would say that.
Wait, when did you start liking Trump?
I honestly.
Can you give us a year, for example?
Something he said. What sparked the change?
Yeah. What sparked the change?
I'd say about like a couple of years after he got in office, when I started seeing like my IRA money. It's not the North Republic of Ireland or anything like that.
No.
But like my retirement.
Your Roth IRA.
Yeah, exactly. My money that I had invested started doing things. When I started feeling the economic change, like, well, I'm making my money's doing something that hasn't done anything in a long time. It's gone up. I can see that there's more jobs. Middle class families are going up in like as far as like their home, like their income that's coming in and everything. It's like I honestly felt like things were not as bad
for middle class.
But
that's not the majority of the country.
Oh, I mean, it's not upper class.
Oh yeah, well, what about the people that aren't in middle and upper class? How were they doing?
I'm sure they were probably doing better if they were working within the United States, which I'm sure they are. It had to have been. Everybody. I don't think anybody really lost with Trump. Do you think?
I don't think there was much change. I'm not the best person to answer that question. Someone in the comments will definitely be telling us, like, I'm not a political analyst or science major or something. I just know some things.
I mean, I'm pretty much an idiot, but I mean, I could say that, I think there's like 6 million factory jobs opened up. I mean, middle class economy went up. I guess I think it was like $6,000 per household. I mean,
but wasn't that but didn't inflation go up more as well?
Yeah, but I mean, you could blame that on COVID, but but didn't.
Then you can blame a lot.
You can also blame it on those stimulus checks that everybody got as well.
That he signed with his name.
Yeah.
So all right, so yeah, continue. Trump, you liking him?
Yeah, I mean, of course there's things that I don't necessarily agree with. There's things that still make me scratch my head, like his idea about Greenland and the Panama Canal.
And no Canada.
Oh well, that pretty much is the States anyway. But I mean, but honestly, guys, would you say Kamala Harris is the person for the job?
I would.
Why would you? First of all, why would anybody put that in the comments section, folks? Why would anybody say that she's the right person for the job? And I know a lot of people will jump up and say like, well, it's women's rights, and or the abortion issue was a big deal for her, and people that support her, and that just blows my mind, because ladies, you really want to have an abortion, you really want to be able to have an abortion. It's like, if that is what is giving you the inspiration to vote for the most powerful person in the world, then you're an idiot. There's more to it than that. It's the economy. It's, as you say, things ripple throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you're worried about whether or not you can have an abortion, or whether or not someone can cut their penis off and turn it into a makeshift vagina. If you want to, or if it's for gender affirming healthcare and all that shit. Where are your priorities?
So what you're saying, that people should align their priorities to issues that have a bigger impact on society versus the ones that have only affect a small subset of the society.
I mean, like, what affects? I mean, I'm thinking like, what's the big deal? I mean, what's the big thing that we need? It's like, we need a strong economy. That's what is really what's more important than all of this other things that people bicker about, whether or not a couple fellas can get married or whatever. I mean, that's small potatoes. But I mean, the economy is everything. And when I look at when I watch videos of Harris, and she's like, well, of course she was under Biden. It's like, what would you have done differently? What would you have done differently now looking back? Nothing. Just nothing. It was all great. We nailed it. Like, did you do such a great job? I mean, the economy is so fucked up right now. I mean, inflation is so high. Everything costs money. Costs more money than it did before. And people here, I mean, are really suffering to buy groceries and gasoline. I mean, that's what people care about.
Do you think Trump will fix that? And do you think him selling a better economy was the main reason why you are a fan of him and why people probably voted for it?
For sure. And what was the other option? That's the thing. It's like, what's the other option? Well, you can keep it more or less the same. You got somebody who won't do an interview, or is very limited on their responses in interviews, where you've got, Trump talk to anybody. I mean, he did like the Joe Rogan podcast. He also did that Theo Vaughn, and sat there and talked to these guys for a couple hours at a time. I mean, the thing is with Harris, like, I never knew exactly what she stood for.
Okay.
I mean, what was it? I think it was in 2020. She ran for president. A lot of people don't know that. She ran for president, and she didn't make it through the primaries. She was like 1%, and they kicked her on out. Mm-hmm. And it's like, for the same reason, I think. It's like, what do you stand for? What is it? What are your plans? What are you going to do? I mean, even if you say batshit crazy things, at least it's something. I mean, most people don't think that Trump is going to do half of the crazy things he did. I don't think anybody really ever expected him to construct a huge wall between Mexico and the United States.
I did. I thought he was going to.
Did you?
How? I don't know.
Well,
But-
you think he's going to let Mexico pay for it?
Nah, that would never. That was impossible.
Hold on,
That was
so-
definitely impossible.
I'm just here trying. I'm not trying to debate you. I'm just
No,
trying to
no,
understand.
I'm not trying to debate either.
I'm trying to understand your reasoning. That for anyone watching, if you have shit to say it in the comments. I'm not here to say, oh, Harris this or be on Harris's side. I'm here to understand Jason's point of view, the point of view that he's putting out there. And so far, this is not something I've heard. I've spoken to other people that are supporters of Trump, and the main thing they're saying is the economy was their main factor, how that would trickle down on their household.
Mhm.
Like when you mentioned like transgender rights, you mentioned same-sex marriages. What was the other thing? Abortion and stuff like that. You're saying that those things affect a small subset of the population, and if it doesn't affect you, you have no inclination to fight for those.
I'm just saying it doesn't really matter when it comes into like the big picture. I mean, the big picture to me is having a strong country, having a strong economic country. Of course, I would say strong military. I mean, although I'm not sure that's really the answer to a lot of things anymore. I mean, face it. I could go on about other reasons why I didn't like Biden, and I can tell you more things why I don't like Harris.
You know, I have a question.
Let's hear it.
I have a question for you, Jason, because some people, over the years, I've heard this kind of argument to say that Donald Trump was a representation, a perfect representation of what an American is. A typical American.
Mhm.
For example, their point of views, how, for example, sometimes he's very obnoxious with what he says. He doesn't care what he says. He has no filter. And he's just him. He's the president, but he's not wearing the suit of a president. He's just like a normal man. He says things like a normal man.
Mhm.
What do you think about that? Is this true? Do you think this is true or not?
You're asking me if I think that he's just a normal man that's just not.
Basically, yeah.
He's more relatable.
Yeah.
I don't think he's more relatable. No, I don't relate to him at all. I'm first of all, we're in a way different tax structure. I mean, he could afford anything he wants. He rides around on a private jet.
Yeah.
Most politicians are doing much better than the people who are voting for them are. But a lot of people say, I was like, I'll vote for the person I want to have a beer with. Well, not really. I'm not really worried about the person that I want to. I don't want to hang out with Donald Trump. You know what I mean? What I want to do. I prefer to have somebody who is competent enough to make my country the way it needs to be, and rectify some of the things that the previous person in power might have dropped the ball on.
Yeah.
But and to go back to what you were talking about, Devane, you're talking about like trans rights and abortions and things like that. It's like that's a small portion of the people who would vote for Harris, the people who are concerned about that. But when you have people who are invested in the stock market and people who have actually own businesses and things, and they actually have their livelihood riding on it, those are the people who want a strong economy as well.
Yeah.
I always feel like a lot of these younger people, they just they've had a lot of things handed to them, and it's like the government's not your family, it's not your parents. You don't.
It should be though. It should be though. To be very honest, the government should be my father.
Should.
Not
They
is. They should feed me.
Yeah.
Well, you pay your taxes to them.
Yeah. So, but there's so much other things, man, that just drove me absolutely crazy about Harris.
Like what else?
And Biden too. To me, they're the same person, because I don't even think Harris even has a personality. I don't even know what part of her's real. And of course, with Biden, I don't know what part of him is actually just the meds talking, and what part of him is just completely lost in dementia. For me, I always think it's pretty amazing that if anyone is invited to meet the president, I don't know about you guys. I mean, have you ever met the president?
No, they wouldn't even think about letting him
Of
be
course,
the president.
they wouldn't. I mean, I'm not getting any invitations either.
Mm.
You know, I think people who meet the president, I think the president should be way too busy to be messing around with people in the public. Okay, first of all, I mean, people threw up a big stink whenever Johnny Cash went to go meet, I think it was Nixon, I think in the White House, where he walked in and like the man in black with the guitar on his back.
Yeah, yeah.
And anyway, it's like, oh, well, what's Johnny Cash doing meeting the president? It's like, and here you go. Biden is meeting Dylan Mulvaney. And if, do you guys know who Dylan Mulvaney is?
No.
Well, basically, it's the woman of the year in most people's standards. And it's just a trans guy, a trans woman. So, and you know, he's like one of these fellows who's getting all these makeup deals and all this, and
so
he's like, oh,
okay.
it's number 360 something of being a woman. Today I got scared of a bug, and then I went and cried for a while. That kind of person.
I have no clue.
All right.
So basically, the standard of what a trans person is, that's the person who he met with. Basically.
Well, I'm saying, like, why were you meeting this person?
Mhm.
I mean, Kamala Harris met a bunch of guys walking up into the White House with beards and dresses on, and it's like, and just welcoming them inside, like as if that was like the parlor of her home. Like, come on in, ladies. It's like, why are these people? It's like I'm not, and by all means, I don't give a monkey's fuck how anybody wants to live their life. I don't care. Okay, do whatever you want. I mean, you're an adult. You can do whatever you want. It's fine with me. But it's popular at the moment.
Yeah,
it's popular at the moment to be friendly to people who dress like the opposite sex.
It's a strategy.
to
win the hearts and to get the votes of those people, to get them on your side.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm so woke. I mean, I'm so open-minded.
Yeah.
You know that.
a lot of people call that virtue signaling.
Yeah.
What?
Virtue signaling.
Like,
It's like a lot of people don't really care, but they project that they do care.
Yeah,
Just because they want to be accepted of being like this morally high.
I get you.
Yeah, I get it. But I mean, I just think the president should be busy. Should be doing things.
Too busy to be meeting.
Should be
people
talking
casually.
to heads of government.
Yeah, I mean, you would think. I mean, and as far as I'm concerned, you know, that makes us look weak. That makes us look stupid.
Because in Russia,
no, they're not doing that.
Hey,
in Russia, I think I saw a news article. A guy, they arrested a guy for looking too gay.
For looking too gay.
Really?
Yes, looking too gay.
Like,
That's all right. when you walking down the street and someone just say, yo, come, you don't look straight.
that, like, it's
my
like,
God.
like, I just got a haircut, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah. My girlfriend kissed me and then, the lipstick's still there. Yeah, man. But other countries, I understand what you're saying, like focusing on issues that affect a minute percentage of the population. But still, these people are important. You can't leave anyone behind.
I'm not saying they're not important. And you know, and that's one of the things I kind of want to stress that I'm not trying to give that impression that like I don't give a shit about trans people, but because I'll say this. My best friend, I'm not going to say his name, but you know, not long ago, he recently told me that his daughter was trans, and that took me aback. And I was like, well, I had to think about it for a second because I'm not one of these people who want to like shit on trans people or anything like that. Because as far as I'm concerned, I mean that's punching down. You know, I mean I don't want to infringe on anybody's right to do anything they want. And when my friend told me that, I told him, I was like, you know what? I've always respected you. I've known you since I was like 11 years old, and I was there when your daughter was born. Okay, and I respect her or they or them or whatever. So my opinion is not going to change because I respect that person. But, you know, it seems like nowadays you got all these people who are, you know, just demanding respect and they're not doing anything to deserve it. And these people, I think, shouldn't be meeting the president of the United States. But anyway.
I get what you're saying. So those issues, I think it's, you know, I can see how your chain of thought, I wouldn't have come to that conclusion based on those things. But I do see where Because for me, honestly, I want my leader of my country to put everyone in the country's interests together. And that means highlighting a vision for the country that will make the entire country better, not only the lives of a certain percentage of the country, whether it be the rich people getting a better life or the poor people getting a better life. I want everyone to be successful. It's hard. It's hard. That's what I'm saying. That's hard, but that should be the goal. That should be the vision. They should go into office to say, hey, I want to make this country, Jamaica, 2.8 million people living in it, and I want 2.8 million people to actually benefit from what I am doing.
Sure.
Because if I was to ever go into politics, I'm not going to be going into politics and say like, I have 1 million votes. That's all I need. So I need to figure out what these 1 million people want and give it to them.
So that they can keep voting for me.
Yeah. What happens to the other person?
And then I got to figure out how to pay these people back who voted for me.
Exactly. No, your goal is like, I want to make the country better, and making the country better. I'm not saying like it's black and white. You can't make decisions on a whole saying, hey, all right, trans people wants rights. Give them rights. Okay, they want this, they want this, they want this. I know that there's going to be a priority list when it comes down to things. Not saying that, might be your number one priority for you. Mm-hmm. This is your number one priority. You want the right to do this. This is your number one priority. But I also have to consider the priority of, in America, 330 odd other million people as well. What are their number one priorities, and what can we do for everyone to make the country better?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I mean, what they need to do is to build economically. That's what it all comes down to. But, I mean, I'm not necessarily. I mean, I something scare me. Like the idea of mass deportations. I mean, I've got friends who were illegal in the United States, and I know people who in the United States who probably should be deported. And it's a double-edged sword.
It's not black and white.
It's not black
and white. Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of people they see things as black and white. They don't realize that there are nuances to everything. Every decision a political leader makes, I don't think that person is sitting on it like, oh, fuck them.
No.
I don't care about them. Even if he doesn't care about them, he has to look at how this will affect the other decision he's going to make down the line.
Yeah, but there
are nuances to everything.
It's the bigger picture. I mean, you always have to look at the bigger picture. And I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, some people are going to slip through the cracks. And, I think now with our woke culture, it's like, well, the squeaky hinge gets the oil,
The loud masses.
Yeah, true.
Loud masses. And that's one of the things I've come to realize about politics as well. Like, the people with the highest talking point and the things that go viral, especially with social media on it now, that's where you're going to focus on. And I don't think that is right.
But that's what makes money, so that's why.
Yeah. There's also there's also this conspiracy theory towards.
Oh, you're into conspiracy theories too.
I like I dabble.
All right.
Where when they were going for same-sex marriages, that was what everyone was talking about. The person that could bring that in, that would be the person they would have voted for. That was the hot talking point.
So that'd be the person you wouldn't vote for.
Yeah, exactly. And then all the money and the donations were going towards that cause. No, it's a shifted a bit. It's more towards trans rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is the hot talking point right now. Right now, it's like your speech is technically censored.
Oh yeah,
in such a way where
to not disrespect these people, for example, or to include these people.
To include everybody.
Yeah,
like everybody feel included.
Inclusion is the word.
Yeah.
Inclusion,
and it's a tough thing because I want to respect your right to do whatever the frick you want to do with your life, but I also want to be given the same courtesy.
Yeah, of course.
I want to say, hey, maybe this is not my agenda or anything. Maybe if I don't believe in this. Because I'm not going to go out there and preach, oh, this doesn't exist. But for myself, I might just not want to do that. You know what I'm saying, Toniel? Like, if I don't believe you should put sugar in your coffee, I'm not going to tell you not to put sugar in your coffee. That's your business. Mm-hmm. You drink your coffee the way you want to drink it. Yeah. But if you putting sugar in your coffee affects the entire population, that's where me as a politician has to come in and say, hey, that's making us weaker. That's giving people diabetes, and the health of the health of the people affects the health of the economy. So
Yeah, because if I have
don't put as much sugar now.
if I have to cure more people, it means I have less money to put into schools, less
Exactly.
money to put into infrastructures, all
And
of
once
these things.
people were so more like for a joint cause. Now people are so individualistic. They don't think about what affects the entire country. They don't want to
We
make
are
a personal sacrifice to make their country better.
Now people want what they want now. I want it now. I want the same
exactly.
way.
They
I got
want
live-
what they want.
I
They don't
the,
want what
they want
everybody
the
else wants. Yeah.
McDonaldization of politics.
Yeah, and they want it now.
Ah,
They want what they want, and they want it now. And that makes it so hard to even elect a proper leader to hold them to a certain standard. If there was a collective body of everyone's like, okay, we want to legalize smoking on airplanes. This is random example. I like to use it. Everyone wants
We
to
used
start,
to have that right.
Yeah, everyone wants to smoke on airplanes right now. If the collective said yes, your leader would have to. They would have to. There would be true democracy.
You know, the problem is, Davian, we don't have a round table. You see, if we had a round table,
Yeah, and have a round table.
and we
with
call
leaders.
everybody who is concerned to this matter, to this round table, or a representative of everybody in the society at this round table, then ones would express their views and their concerns about, for example, smoking on the plane. And at the end of the day, we'd have to try to come to a consensus to try to please everybody who is at the table. But the problem is that there is no round table for everybody. There's a round table with people who are deemed as more important in society, or people who are deemed as the ones that run society.
Yeah,
That's the people we vote for.
true.
Basically.
Tony, all right. So I have a question for each of you, and I'm gonna answer it. What should your ideal leader do, Tony, for Jamaica? If you could pick the person that runs the country, what would you want him to do and to change? Jason, same question.
Okay, who's
It
going
doesn't
first?
have. There you go. Jason, he's thinking.
No, I'm just thinking of who should go first.
Rock, paper, scissors.
All right, so the question is, what should they do?
Your ideal leader and what they should do. The leader doesn't have to have a face or a name, just the building blocks for this person and what they should do for the country.
Well,
You can pick issues that you feel are.
if we look at the problems, I mean, or when we say the problems around the states now, which immigration is a big thing that everybody looks at. I think I think there should be better like a vetting system to define if people want to come to the United States. I think it should be. I don't think it should be easy. I don't think it should be difficult either. But there should be some kind of a better system in place for people to come in instead of people coming in illegally. Because people coming in illegally, that causes just all kinds of problems. I mean, which a lot of people don't really think about. It's like, they just want to live it. People want to have a better life. Yeah, sure, okay, and I understand that. And I have respect for people who risk everything in order to try to have a better life.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you got people living under the radar. People don't pay taxes, and that's people who are getting government subsidies, and that doesn't help things for the people who are actually legal.
Okay.
I think immigration should be something that should be looked into. I don't have any idea how that could be worked out, but I mean, obviously that's a problem. The other question was
the character. That was technically the question, man. So you want someone that would focus on the immigration issue,
right? I mean, and I think it's important to keep people out, in the sense that if you keep people out and then you have a better system of who you're letting in, that should be a priority as far as I'm concerned.
No. That's something that I'm gonna respond to that.
I mean, I'm an immigrant as well.
Yeah, I can agree to that. Like, immigration is an issue for every country. Every country that people go to, immigration should be an issue, and there should be a system in place where proper immigration protocols are followed. Definitely understand what you're saying. People coming in and across, they have the best intentions, maybe some don't, but you need to have a system in place that can actually manage to process everyone, process them fairly as well.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that. Not a system like, if you're from this country, we're keeping you out.
No, I never said that.
No, I didn't say you said that. I'm saying that's when people hear about immigration issues, from one side, they're like, oh, they just want to keep people out of the country. But it's not that simple. When a government's job also is to protect the borders and control who comes in and comes out.
Well, and
just like how you
and protect
control
the people who are inside as well, the actual citizens.
Just like how you, when someone comes to your house and you look at the door, you give an assessment of.
Of
who
course.
you're
Well, I
letting in.
mean, I think it's a normal thing to do, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah.
So they should give an assessment of who they let in. And I do think people should follow proper protocols. And then there is a way to properly immigrate to countries as well.
Yeah, of course.
Just make it more make it more efficient.
Yeah.
Make it more efficient and effective to, maximize on the people actually coming in. Because people are running from war-torn country,
Sure.
extreme poverty, possible, violence as well against them. So they have the right and they can file for asylum and stuff. But if there's a system in place that does this, perfectly.
Yeah, and
but the thing is, the system can't handle it.
Yeah,
the voltage going in, the circuit can't handle it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you have to have some kind of a system in place. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, fellas, let's go to my house. And while you're at it, if you see any strangers on the street, bring them over too. It's not going to do any good for anybody, is it?
No. And I understand. Tony, what are you?
So my answer is a very simple answer. I'd like to see a leader who is one that listens to the needs of the country and the people, and one who is willing to include everybody who is necessary to help carry the country forward. And as you know, Davian, our burning issue with our country right now, I would say, is with crime, for example.
Yeah.
So somebody who is willing to make the tough decision of trying to change this whole mentality. We even talked about this the other day, the whole mentality of the crime culture, the violence culture. Find a way to try to educate people about this. Let them be more aware of the implications. We see the implications of, people dying or whatever, but there are greater implications like economically, socially, how we're viewed across the world, for example. Right? So somebody who can make that tough decision when it comes on to crime, somebody who is willing to help carry the country forward when it comes on to like economics. And as you know, our biggest economics right now is tourism. So somebody who can maintain the tourism industry and somebody who can actually find something else that we can benefit from in Jamaica, and somebody who is also willing to call everybody from every corner of the country and sit down with them, talk to them, listen to their needs, and not only talk to a certain set of the country who is of more benefit to the country, basically. And a people's person, somebody who is not afraid to, as I said, go and talk to the people, get into these areas and use a language which is common to these people, not a language of you, looking down at them and say, what do you need? Or coming down to their place, a people's person, basically. That's what we need right now in our country, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think we can end the episode there? Anything
I
else,
think
Jason?
so.
You have any questions?
Well, I'm sure I pissed off a lot of people. So, and I'm not sorry exactly, but
No. That's
I mean,
the next thing. No,
I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you guys.
Thank you for being here.
Whether or not you agree with the things that I say, I felt very welcome here, and you guys, I'm fans of the podcast, guys, and I hope you guys keep rocking it.
That's the next thing. That's the last thing. Then this is the last note I'll end on. A person can have different politics from you. It's a divide. Just because someone believes in something different from you, he's still a human being at the end of the day. We still want what's better. I would like to think we all want what's better for ourselves, for our families, and for the world. We're not here to say, hey, because you're over there and I'm over here, I believe on this issue. That means like we can't have a conversation. The lack of conversation is what causes the polarization, that division.
Is important.
And then people are in a position to manipulate you and take advantage of you. And they can put out, when you go on a social media feed, it just feeds you what you want. You don't want to have a conversation. You know how many people would say that, oh, Jason likes Trump. So that means he's a scum of the earth. Why are
Yeah.
you sitting now? Why are you even sitting so close to him?
Yeah,
Why are you sitting
exactly.
there?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people who have that.
But if I have that viewpoint about him, what makes you better since you are saying that? Because this man has a different political
judge
view?
not if you're not willing to be judged.
Exactly.
I mean, I've got another point to make. You're familiar with the term a Karen.
A Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where we're having problems here. Is you can be a Karen on both sides,
Mhm.
you know, and this isn't necessarily good for anybody.
Yeah.
So
No.
nobody wants a Karen, either side.
Yeah. I think, and a note, just listen, bro. Not to the podcast only. Listen to everyone.
Yeah, and don't only. I always say this to people: don't listen to respond. Listen to understand
Yeah.
the person.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen to
Also,
understand.
I'm sure Jason
always.
has created 10 Trump supporters there. and then he probably created another 20 against. But you know what? Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a discourse.
Yeah, it's not
If
a usual
someone else wants to
episode.
sit down and, a Kamala supporter, happy to do it. As I said, I'm not from the USA. I give a fuck when it affects Jamaica and my family, but America will be America. America will be American. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for coming, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And that's it from the Yardman Podcast. We
We
out.
Yardman Podcast are the one. The Yardman Podcast. Tell you about the Yardman Podcast. The Yardman Podcast. Tell you about the Yardman Podcast. The Yardman Podcast. Tell you about the Yardman Podcast. The Yardman Podcast. Tell you about the Yardman Podcast.
Subscribe now. We out.